Good morning.
Hi, Elaine.
How are ya?
Excellent. How are you?
Good, good. I wasn't hearing anything at first. I thought my volume wasn't working. So
We were just talking about maybe having some background music going.
there you go. Good idea. Of course, we could always
Elaine,
have Don
how's your-
Williamson sing.
How's your
Yeah.
wrist, Elaine?
Not
Hi,
for free.
Jim.
Elaine, how's your wrist?
It's much better. The cast
Oh.
did come off, and I've got a big old arm brace thingy. I hate it. But just that being able to have it out of the cast has relieved some of the pain. So that's been great.
Really?
Thanks for
Wow.
asking. It's going to be a
So-
haul to get it back in shape.
Oh, but you're tough. You can do it.
Heck yeah, strong.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Good. I was been wondering about how it was healing for you and how all that was happening.
Yeah, thanks.
So good. Well, I'm glad you're on the right road to mending.
Yes.
Okay,
Me
I'm going to
too.
put my mute on for now.
Me too.
Still got the pain in the neck, though.
Hey, Don, behave. Don, are you going to be our music? Are you going to sing something in the background so we know
You
we're
know-
on?
No singing. We tried that briefly last week with the song. It didn't work out too good. We just have
All
to
right.
sit quietly with our hands folded on our desk.
Well, some people can do that. Some of us aren't that easy.
Good morning. This is Mike Karashi.
Good morning, Mike.
How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Excellent. Can't complain.
Good, good.
It's a beautiful day.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to mute myself. You have a good day,
Okay.
Linda.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your
You
help.
too. Yes, of course.
I'm gonna start here in a couple minutes.
Oh, sorry, I just jumped on.
Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning. I apologize for not being on a little earlier, but I had back-to-back stuff going on.
You've missed nothing except Elaine Norland singing.
Oh. Can we restart that?
Absolutely not, Anthony. You do not want to hear me sing. That is
Why
not a
not?
task I was given.
I think we do.
Yes. I can
Anthony,
still
you can lead
sing.
us in the Star Spangled Banner if you'd like.
Sure.
Still sing I'm a Little Teapot. That's about as far as I go.
There you go.
Let's start in about 30 seconds. Okay, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. I am Don Williamson. I'm the chairman of the board of the Corona Chamber of Commerce for the year 2020. Thank you so much for being on the call. Before we go too far, I just want to express our sincerest thanks. Before we go too far, I just want to express our sincerest thanks. I'm getting feedback. Well, that's weird. Our sincere thanks to Express Employment Professionals for being our sponsor today. Without our sponsors, we cannot continue our good work here at the Corona Chamber of Commerce. If any one of you on this call is interested in being our sponsor in one of the weeks ahead, please contact Bobby Spiegel, and he can set that up for that opportunity. We have a lot to go through today, as always. As always, we try to be your resource here at the Corona Chamber of Commerce for accurate and up-to-date information. That's what these calls are about. And we're really pleased with the success and that so many people have joined us to depend on this call as well. For those of you, this is your first time, here's how it works. We introduce the speakers here. And if you have any questions, please use the chat box on the Zoom there. You can see the example on the slide. Then Linda will forward the questions to the speaker, and that's how we do things here. Every speaker has a limited amount of time, so sometimes Linda has to edit the questions, and we will, if we get too many of the same questions, we'll ask it in a similar way to get all of our questions answered, and that's how this works. So again, thank you for being on the call, and let's get started with our first guest today, and that would be from the County of Riverside. We have the Riverside County Deputy Director of Business and Community Services, Rob Moran.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Chamber. Thank you for having me here this morning. And I'm going to talk about some of the guidance I think that was put out by our Public Health Department. And the Chamber specifically asked a couple of areas, and that's related to what should a business do if they've had an employee who is either tested positive or come into contact with somebody who's positive, and then what happens when an employee is exposed but asymptomatic. What should they do? And I guess there's been some questions and some confusion. And so, you know, the guidance states, and we realize that there are nuances to every single business, and every business is different. And what I would suggest ahead of time is that if you have some very specific and detailed questions, I'm more than happy to, please feel free to reach out to me, and then we'll engage our Public Health Department if, there are very unique circumstances, or if you still have further follow-up questions. So I would offer that because I certainly know enough to be dangerous, but our public health experts are really the ones that have, you know, a little bit more in-depth knowledge about this. But if you have an employee that is either confirmed or suspected to have COVID, you know, a significant facility cleaning is required and necessary. And I think you've seen in some cases where certain businesses have elected to shut down, and that may be necessary for their operations depending on the situation. Maybe they've had several employees that have been exposed or tested positive. But some of the items is you know, giving kind of the guidance states wait 24 hours before cleaning and disinfecting. And that's to kind of minimize the potential for other employees being exposed. If that's not feasible, try to give it as much time as possible. You know, if you can open up and, you know, windows and doors and increase air circulation, that's helpful as well. But it's not necessary to close the entire facility. Now, in some cases, I realize it may be a very small business where the exposed employee has been in contact, you know, throughout the facility, and that may be the ultimate outcome, but it is not a requirement. The idea is that if you have a person that's worked in a certain area, that you sort of isolate that area and close that off, and then conduct a thorough cleaning. And in that guidance, it recommends, you know, CDC, Center for Disease Control, protocols for cleaning the facility and using certain types of products and ensuring that, you know, the folks doing the cleaning are also protected using PPE and so forth. So that's important for these facilities. And again, I realize that some facilities are larger and you can do that, and others are very small and you're not able to do that. So it just depends on each individual business's circumstance. And I think the other case came up is what happens when you have employees that are exposed, but they're asymptomatic, meaning they're not showing any of the potential symptoms of having COVID-19. And public health does require that they maintain a 14-day quarantine. They've got to do temperature checks during that time. Of course, they should get tested. But even if they are tested and test negative, they need to maintain a 14-day quarantine. So I know that's a pretty lengthy period of time, but it is just to ensure that hopefully those symptoms don't show up during that time period. So that's one of the things that, you know, that needs to occur. Like I said, if there's any questions related to that and specific scenarios, I'm more than happy to connect you and get, you know, more defined answers on a case-by-case basis, because like I said, I realize that every business is completely different, and it gets very, very nuanced. So that's certainly something we're happy to do. So happy to answer any questions, but that's basically what I've got. And so we're really looking at it from two perspectives: what happens to the employees, positive or asymptomatic, and then what the facility does. So it's not a requirement that you have to shut down. I realize that some may elect to do so depending on, you know, the specific circumstances.
Thank you so much, Rob. Linda, are there any questions for Rob?
No, there aren't any questions at this time.
Okay, Rob, thank you so much. We appreciate you and the entire team that you have working hard on our behalf of here in the county of Riverside. So thank you again.
My pleasure, Mr. Chair.
Okay, for those of you that are wondering, Bobby couldn't make the call this morning, so we're going to miss him. I'm going to tell him, though, that by popular demand, we have kept him off, but that's not true. He couldn't make it this morning. So now I'd like to turn our time over to Jan Steiner, who with Make Dust, and she is here representing the 2019-2020 ELR program that has the Executive Leadership Roundtable project that we've talked about in the past, and she's going to give us an update and speak about the program. Jan Steiner.
Yes, oh, hi, good morning. Can you hear me, Don?
I sure can.
Oh, good, because I can't see anybody's videos, so I don't know if, I was wondering if I was having a technical difficulty. So yes, I am one of the members of the ELR, the Executive Leadership Roundtable this year, and we chose as our project, as many of you have heard, for the Bob Hope USO out at March Air Force Base. at March Air Force Base, they normally, now obviously the deployment is different right now, but they usually deploy from 1,000 to 5,000 troops a month, which is a huge number. And they have this nice facility, and they did not have any proper refrigeration over there. So all they could offer was peanut butter and jellies. And you've heard that. That's our project. We're calling it More Than a PB&J. And so far, they have been able to order a freezer and a refrigerator and some beverage units. One of the other things that is really important for us to want to do for them is for the troops, as they're going to be leaving, to be able to, if they have children, have an area where they can record a story for them or read a book to them, so that their spouse that's home or whoever's their caretaker with the children can let the child hear their parents' voice every night as they're going to bed and hear those stories. And how important is that? So we do need some extra funds for that and some of the other programs that we're working with on this. So my colleagues have been, over the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks, however long, my colleagues on the ELR have been giving an update about this to everybody. And what we have noticed is nobody has sent any money in. That's really important. We really need some additional funds so that we can take this project and be able to have, how important is that for their kids to be able to hear their parents' voice? So we would like you to go online to Give Big Corona and make a donation there. That donation is for the ELR. It will go to the group, and it will go as part of the fundraiser that we're doing. So at this point, you've been hearing all about it, but I don't see over the last 4 weeks, maybe Ann can correct me because she is our fantastic accountant for this, but it doesn't appear that any more funds have come in. And we're asking you to please open up your checkbook, your credit card, give Big Corona, even if it's $100. I mean, these are the troops. These are the people who protect us. So with that, that's what I have to say. So thank you very much, Don, for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing with us. And again, that's you can make a donation at givebigcorona.com. It's there on the slide for this very worthy project to help support our troops. And as we talk about every time the Executive Leadership Roundtable comes up, we are taking applications right now for next year. So if you're interested, please contact Bobby or myself or anyone at the Chamber office so we can get you on that track. Also,
Don, excuse me for a second, but somebody did ask if there's a flyer, and there is. I didn't see who it was, but Linda, can you get one of our flyers over to whoever asked? And anybody else who would like a flyer, I don't know if you can see me, but this is the flyer, and that we can send out to people to promote this.
Yes,
Thank
of course, we can get that out.
And
Thank
if you're
you,
interested in
Linda.
getting that flyer, please you just send a message over to Linda in the chat, and she can email one over to you as well. On August the 10th, our next Good Morning Corona, we're going to be having the graduation of the ELR class that Jan and her group is in. If you want to go to that and help us show our support for this class, for early bird pricing, get on the website, and by August the 10th, you'll get early bird pricing. Speaking of Good Morning Corona, we had last Friday, we had it out at Silver Lakes. It was like a drive-in atmosphere. No one had to get out of their car. It was incredibly successful. It was a time to get out and see everybody without really having the danger of interacting. And we had breakfast and a little popcorn, and I recommend and hope that a lot of you will come to the one that we have in August, which will be out there. And you can see, like I said, the ELR graduation ceremony. Moving on, one of our main objectives in the Corona Chamber of Commerce is our advocacy for legislation and helping business in all levels of government. And we are, we've made a lot of headways. We have a lot of great contacts. We have what's called our Executive Action Committee. And I'm going to introduce to you now the chairman of the board of that committee, Anthony Edwards.
Thank you so much, Don. Thank you everyone for being here. I know that we talked about it a little bit last week at Good Morning Corona in terms of us issuing some response to one of the potentially largest tax increases of our state's history. So for that, we do use Jeff Gibson from Occidental Communications, who has been our advocate and legislative advisor for many years, but really knowledgeable on this stuff. And I would like him to potentially talk on this a little bit more because, as I said, he's a little bit more knowledgeable on it than I am. So Jeff,
Sure.
Good morning. I don't know if you're
Morning.
on, but it's all you.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Don. So Prop 15, which is on your ballot, is often referred to as split roll. That's a confusing term, which refers to how commercial property, residential property with any commercial component, and a number of different types of property will be assessed. Unfortunately, it would remove almost all Prop 13 protections from the from anything that basically produces a job in the state of California. Residents would still be covered by Prop 13 for the time being, but this would constitute the largest state tax increase in United States history. All commercial and industrial property would be, and this also includes apartments with multi-use components, like has been produced along North Main. Like the state of California is forcing cities to consider across the state. The commercial component of that would be thrown into being reassessed at least once every 3 years, if not sooner, based upon local property value. So say you have a industrial building that served its purpose for 50 years, it sat there quietly, it is assessed based upon the purchase value at the time, with a 2% adjustment each and every year, which counties rarely miss. And your neighbor next door, when you built your property, it was a orange orchard or a lemon orchard, and now it's residential property. Well, you would be reassessed based upon the value of the residential property within your area. So on a parcel basis. So you're looking at, the state conservatively believes that it would raise between 12 and $18 billion annually. Of course, with the different reforms that are going through the state of California, including rent control, the ability of businesses during this pandemic not to pay rent, you're looking at business values for property that are well lower than their historic average. So you would be this is a huge fight that will affect every single person with a triple net lease, every single person that purchases anything from a business with a triple net lease. The county assessors are opposed to it, and obviously I come to you today to ask for your consent to oppose this as well. So need a motion and a second. Anyone? Did I stun everyone into?
I'll make the motion. This is Chris Miller. I'll make the motion.
I second Mike Karashi.
Okay, Mike Karashi.
Mike Karashi seconds it. All in favor of opposing Prop 15, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, or please raise your hand or indicate. I can't see all the screen, so I'll have to let somebody know. Any
Yeah,
opposed?
Okay.
Okay, Jeff, we carried that.
Okay. So thank you. I appreciate that, and I will communicate that forward today. Secondly, last time we met, we discussed 2 times ago now, we discussed the listing of the Joshua Tree and opposing the listing of the Joshua Tree to the endangered species list held by the state under the California Endangered Species Act. The act requires that there be a specific threat. So consider mountain lions, when they were listed, the worry was that they were losing habitat and they were being hunted as a specific threat. And there was a census of the species that was involved that said there should be 15,000 and there are 1,500. Well, the state has come, or groups have come to the state and asked them to list the Joshua Tree, which the Obama and the Trump administration, and you don't get people often saying this, the Obama and the Trump administration agreed should not be listed as an endangered species because its habitat is actually expanding. 80% of its habitat is already on federal or state controlled land. It is already listed under the California Desert Plants Act. So you have to treat it as an endangered species anyway, and its numbers are going up. But the reason that they are trying to get this into endangered species status is because of climate change. And that sometime within the next 100 years, and there's no dispute over climate change itself. Obviously, the climate is changing day to day, month to month, year to year, century to century. But the idea is that if climate change can be made into a specific threat for the purposes of listing a species which is not endangered as endangered, that sometime within the next 100 years, it may become endangered over even a portion of its habitat. And that's the case with the Joshua Tree. They're worried that it will die out if the Earth warms by 7 degrees over the next 100 years. And this is the argument. This isn't me making this up. This is the actual argument in writing, that the Joshua Tree may die out in Joshua National Park. Well, that's not what the law says. And we have worked very hard on with the author of a bill who's introduced a bill to stop this. It's called AB 235. This will affect us very much throughout the area. So I would need a motion and a second to support AB 235 on an emergency basis, so we could get that to the author and move on from there.
Okay, does everyone understand what Jeff is asking us there? If there are any
We're asking for
questions?
support of AB 235.
I make a motion to support that. That's Chris Miller.
Chris
Thank
Miller
you.
on fire this morning.
I'll second that, Elaine Norland.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you, Elaine.
all in favor of accepting this 235, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carries, Jeff.
Thank you. And it's now my distinct honor to introduce Leah Petersen. Leah has worked with us for well over a decade now on our Legislative Action Committee, and without the gas company, our efforts would look a lot different than they do. And she's been a great leader for us and for the region, and she has a great presentation for us this morning. So Leah, take it away.
Great, thank you so much. Good morning, Corona. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what SoCal Gas is doing and how we've been responding as a company and as well as employees during the COVID crisis. If you could go to my next slide, I'll tell you a little bit about who we are. We have almost 22 million customers. We operate in over 500 different communities with just under 8,000 employees. And we have about 6 million meters that are running to businesses and homes for hot water, manufacturing. We are in, electricity is generated by gas turbine running to generate the power that we have in our homes for air conditioning, as well as what you're familiar with, cooking on stoves and that type of thing. Next slide, please. What we've been doing since March, the middle of March, when the governor's executive orders was passed, we are considered an essential service, and I'm also an emergency responder going out to wildfires and different impacts to not only our gas system, but to things that happen out in the street, to our pipelines. But so the governor has declared us essential services, so you will continue to see gas company employees working on maintenance as well as new construction projects in order to maintain our over 100,000 miles of pipe in the ground. And we are continuing, and that's very important for people, that we are continuing to respond to emergency calls. If you have a service call that you want to have your appliances checked, we'll come out and do that. But we are making sure that when you call for an appointment, that our employees will be wearing face masks. It's mandatory within our company. Gloves were applicable. Obviously, the hand washing and social distancing are important, but we're also making sure that the people who are in that home or business are also following COVID protocols, and no one has been ill there, so our employees don't become ill as well. Unfortunately, our payment offices where people could pay their bills, that would be a face-to-face contact. Those offices have been closed, but there are a variety of ways that you can continue to pay, either using our 800 number, going online, sending in a check. So it's not, there are other opportunities and ways to get in touch with us. Next slide, please. SoCal Gas has also changed how we support the community under these very, very difficult circumstances. We reevaluated a lot of our programs, and as you know, a lot of events that we would normally attend have been canceled. So what we wanted to do is to realign and be very focused on helping the immediate needs of the impacts due to COVID, which is we put money into job-seeking programs. Recently, we gave $25,000 to Riverside County Works, which is a workforce investment board program that I'm proud to be a member of, where we're supporting people doing resume writing, upgrading their training skills, helping them doing job search. You're all familiar with what Mary Barnett and Dean Seff have been doing with the Frontline Workers Appreciation group. We've donated money to not only to the Corona Regional Hospital donations for their grab and go meals, but recently Mary very kindly came out and helped me at the Riverside Community Hospital, and so did Supervisor Karen Spiegel, delivering meals to over 1,000 hospital workers. And that was a two-pronged program in that effort, because we purchased all of the meals from Miguel's restaurant, and we are doing that in other locations, working with Family Services Association at all their senior locations in both Riverside County and San Bernardino County. We are supplying additional funds for them to deliver seniors meals, and that's been a big help to the senior population who've felt the increase in grocery costs, as well as the additional impacts of just being a high danger age group that has to remain inside and can't get out as much as they would normally do so. We also have our 20% discount. Many families have lost their jobs, either one or both partners have become laid off. And so if there's a definite cut in your income, you can apply through our 800 number, or you can go to SoCalGas.com and look for our customer assistance programs, and we can lower your bill upwards of 20%. And then next slide, please. So some of the things that we are doing within our company with regards to our employees, and these are obviously changing on a daily basis, but we follow the Center for Disease Control COVID-19 guidelines and also the World Health Organization. As I said, we operate in over 500 different communities, and each community has a different standard of wearing masks, not wearing masks, and other protocols. So we've made it mandatory that all of our employees wear masks. So it's easy, it's been determined. If you work during our work hours, you're gonna wear a mask. We implement the social distancing, but we're also a construction company. So we've had to really take a really close look at how we operate. If we're digging a hole, it's usually to access that pipeline, we have 2 men in that hole. And now we have to really plan out how the job is going to be done. So only one person can be in that closed, confined space at a time. Only one person will be operating our gas company trucks. We've enhanced the level of cleaning our tools and the regularity of disinfecting our vehicles. All business travel has been restricted. We're doing temperature checks at our locations where our employees are gathering, but we have over 3,300 employees working from home. And I have to say I'm very proud of the company because we are used to dealing with emergencies, whether it's floods, wildfires, or other major actions like we've experienced recently with the social unrest. When we have had the experience of working in emergencies, we already had laptops, we had cell phones, we had secure computer access systems in place. So we were up and running, going from the order to remain at home and up and running within 24 hours with very little change. And that's something for employers to consider because it's always been a problem for the bosses that are your employees at home actually doing work, or are they doing things like all their laundry and playing with the kids and other actions. So what's happened is that our bosses have looked at the metrics, looked at the construction guidelines, and have found that we are meeting and exceeding our goals, our company goals, and they're now beginning to reevaluate, is this something that will be the new norm for us? Will we be going back to offices? Will we be working from home more with our employees? And how does that look in the future for our company? Next slide, please. A couple of other things that have been really effective as far as the employees are concerned, because obviously they're worried about what their future is. Job evaluations for future increases in pay. What about work-life balance? We've also looked at what adults have, our employees who are taking care of children, or possibly even their elders, their parents, and doing caregiving. How has that impacted them? And so our executives have had regular virtual town halls where our employees can ask questions. We've also been looking at helping support childcare facilities so that when people are going back to offices, many of their childcare locations have shut down. How is that going to look, and what can we do to support them? We're changing the floor plans in our office buildings. We're increasing the ventilation and heating and systems. And so there's many other actions that we're doing to improve the quality of going back to our office locations. And my final slide is really about what the future can hold, and being kind to others, because you really don't know what's going on in their home life and how their situation is. And we also have to take that into consideration for our leadership as well, our elected officials, because every day is a new day and they're all doing completely different things than they ever thought they would be doing and making decisions on. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. And you've got Linda and Bobby have my contact information to reach me in the future.
Thank you so much, Leah. That was very, very interesting. Good job. I want to also add that Leah is also on our board of directors of the Crown Chamber of Commerce. Linda, are there any questions for Leah at this time?
Yeah, we have a couple here. The first one is natural gas use in California homes a major cause of greenhouse gas emissions?
They have done studies on this, so it's not the gas company. I'm just repeating what have been scientific studies that have been done on it. And only about 7% of all your methane emissions are caused by cooking at home or commercial cooking or restaurants and that type of thing. Almost 40% is created by transportation, by trucks and cars and planes. So you can use your stove. You're adding very little to the environmental concerns and air quality issues.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one more. Is getting rid of all natural gas appliances and equipment in homes and restaurants the only way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to reach California's 2030 air quality standards?
can take a look outside, and if you can already see the skies are much bluer and you can see the mountains because of the downturn in the traffic. That's not good for the economy, but it does show you the impact that transportation has on it. We are also looking at the gas company to be able to provide more renewable fuels, and that would be coming from bio gas that is made out of green waste, cow manure, other products that would give us that zero and meet our climate action goals for California. Thanks for the great questions.
Thank you, Leah. Linda, you said that was the last one?
Yes, that's it.
Once
So,
again,
Don-
Leah, thank you so much.
Don,
At this time, you know, we kind of skipped over an opportunity to ask Jeff Gibson questions. So I think Jeff is still on the call. And Linda, if we have any questions for Jeff?
Yeah, we do have a couple questions. Thank you. Jeff, what is the estimated cost of implementing the split roll prop, and you know, with the cost of new employees and overheads and pensions and that kind of thing? Has that any studies been done on that yet?
There have not been any studies, but the assessors in the initiative itself identifies that there would be approximately that the state would not experience a positive bump in its revenue for 2 to 3 years. So you would look at possibly anywhere between $6 and $12 billion a year to assess, because assessors' offices are not set up because they have not assessed in this manner since the early 70s on commercial property. So that's where you would end up. It would end up being the state is looking at it as a year 3. So if it were implemented at the end of this year, as all initiatives that pass are, you wouldn't get any revenue out of this until 2024, 2025.
Wow.
Thank you. And another question, what studies have been done for the trickle down effect? You know, if the building owner is going to get additional, you know, owed monies, then he's going to pass that on to the tenant, who's going to pass that on to the consumer. Have any studies been done about the trickle down effect on that?
Well, in this case, there's no, in this case, there's not a trickle down per se. It's a direct pass through. So if you have a triple net lease, as almost all businesses that rent do, and many consumers do as well, with a triple net lease, the cost goes immediately to the renter. So you would have that portion of your lease would actually rise by 150 to 200% each period. So basically, if you have a 4-year lease, your property tax would go up by 100, 150, 200% twice within that lease period of time. So if you're paying $5,000 worth of your lease on the day that you sign it, by the time that you finish, it's $15,000, $15,000 to $20,000. So, and that's a direct pass through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These bills are so very important. What additional actions can businesses do to get the message out about these?
So the biggest portion of that is being active in the chamber. We send out to the decision makers precisely what the position of the chamber is, and by being active with us, your voice is being heard. If you also wanted to send letters or emails on your own, that would be great as well, especially in the case of AB 235, and we'd be happy to coordinate that.
Great.
Thank you. That was the last of the questions for you, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. At this time, I would once again like to thank our sponsor for this morning, Express Employment Professionals. Express Employment Professionals, thanking them for their sponsorship today. And I want to remind everyone that you have to register for these calls to be sure not to miss them. So you might want to do that today, and so you'll always be ready to join us. Want to thank all of our speakers today and appreciate them. And mostly I want to thank you all for being here and being part of the Corona Chamber of Commerce. Before we leave, we have some announcements, and I would like to introduce the chair-elect, who will be the chairman next year, 2021, to go through these announcements with me, and that would be Kim Maybon. Kim.
Thank you, Don. Good morning, everybody. Just a reminder to those of you who are not yet a member, or if you know of a neighboring business who would find chamber membership beneficial, please connect with Robert Yanez to be to become part of the Chamber of Commerce. We do service a regional landscape. It's not just Corona. If you refer a member, you'll get a free advertisement in the Corona Business News.
Thank you. Every month we have a program called Coffee with an Entrepreneur, and our next will be August the 10th, and our entrepreneurs will be John and Kathy Armstrong from Do It American Manufacturing. And this is a program that we work with the City of Corona to sponsor. Kathy and John have a great operation where their goal is to stop outsourcing manufacturing jobs from the United States. So please look on our website and you may sign up for that. And the link is there on the slide as well.
We want to thank our sponsor, Express Employment Professionals, for sponsoring today's Zoom call. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, please contact Bobby at the Chamber.
The Safe Together Pledge. Take the pledge and let residents and travelers know you are committed to their safety. After you commit to the pledge, you can proudly display the seal that will signify you are dedicated to current and safe safety standards. There's the link here on the slide. And if you want more information, please contact Linda at the Chamber office.
2 weeks from today, on Wednesday, August 5th, we'll be hosting our annual Golf Classic 2020. Our plans are set and ready to host a beautiful morning for golfing at the Eagle Glen Golf Club. We have a limited number of foursomes still available. If you are interested, please connect with us right away. As you see on these slides, many businesses are supporting the effort. Please consider joining us. Also, you can support our local healthcare frontline heroes by sponsoring them to enjoy our all-inclusive day of golfing, food, gifts, drinks, and live and silent auctions and fun. Each sponsorship donation will get you opportunity tickets to for a chance to win prizes.
Our annual Women's Leadership Conference will be on Thursday, September 24th. You want to get your tickets now, just $60 a person, or you can get group pricing, 10 or more for $45 each. This is a great regional event that's being planned right now, and the Corona Chamber is proud to host this event. I believe this was for our 9th year. There's a great group of speakers, including a physician panel, which will be sharing tidbits and critical information for every attendee to receive information about.
And please join us for next week's call on Wednesday, July 29th. You do need to register for each week, so please register now. Again, thank you all for attending. We are adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.